That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm,
Articulate and intelligent.
Greg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them offensive as hell.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, fuck that.
Terrible! Bad! Not bad!
Oh, pretty good.
Okay!
Decent.
Fair!
Great.
I loved it!
this sucks.
Yeah, you really gotta wonder how the stuff gets made.
If you leave me now, you'll take away the biggest part of me. You know that song, Brett? Chicago?
I know Chicago. I don't know that song.
You don't know that song? Ooh, baby, please don't go. Well, I can't sing in his register. Ooh, baby, please don't go.
Yes, I do that song. Thank you.
Okay, God, you want me to sing it like my?
Well, you're just like, ooh, like that doesn't sound anything like it.
Well, anyhow, I just was listening to that song in the car today and was thinking, this song is so fucking pathetic. This guy's begging this chick to not leave him. Begging her. What the fuck, dude? Just let her go. I mean, she obviously wants to leave. Just let her leave. There are other fish in the sea. You know what I mean? I mean, goes in like all this shit we did together. It's been so awesome. And now you're just throwing it all away. Well, she's throwing it all away because she doesn't love you anymore. And once that happens, you got to let it go. You got to let it go. All right.
Derek, did you know that Chicago is actually my first concert I ever went to?
That's so sad.
Well, I was never much into music growing up.
Well, obviously.
I went to see Chicago because whatever, the music was easy listening type of music. Whatever. It's not truly my cup of tea, but the girlfriend at the time liked it. We all went. I've gone to a handful of concerts since then, but I was never, especially growing up. I mean, I played soccer year round and practices 3 or 4 times a week with multiple games. I just never contemplated on going to a concert when I was younger.
No, that's fine. I mean, that being your first concert, I don't know if Peter Cetera was there or not singing that song. Or it's not like they don't have good songs. Like 25 to 6 to 4. That's a really good song. And in fact, it was absolutely ripped off by another band later on. Oh God, who are the punk rock guys? Fuck it. I'm not even going to bother. Anyhow, so welcome to Straight Right Card. First concert, best concert. Well, my first concert actually was Kiss. Yes, I'm that fucking old. This is when they were going through the no makeup era. I didn't buy the tickets. I was invited along by friends, and I went, and it was fun. I was like 15 years old, probably the youngest in the group, actually. And, but, mature but beyond my years. And best concert would have to be Built to Spill. I went and saw them in Indianapolis in, would have been 2004, somewhere around there, in Broad Ripple. And there was it was packed. There's 8,000 people packed in this little space. It's crazy. So those are my two. Do you have a best?
I've already did my first. My best concert. Again, I didn't really frequent too many concerts. I remember seeing Godsmack back in the 90s.
Oof.
But I also most recent concert I went to was the Korn Evanescence concert. And I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Okay, we already had a discussion on that.
Korn live is much better than Korn their studio albums.
Okay. I mean, Korn, that band with a K and the backwards R.
Yeah.
All right. Anyhow. I have seen many great. I've seen the Pixies. I've seen Arcade Fire. I've seen Interpol. Built to Spill. I mean, I've seen some fabulous shows in my days, and been part of the opening band of some fucking fabulous shows, like Guided by Voices. We opened for, so that was amazing because those guys outdrank us. That shouldn't be surprising, by the way. If you know anything about Pollard.
Yeah. I know we talked about this before. One of my least favorite bands seeing live, and this was a band that I only know the one song because I never really followed any of their other stuff. Was seeing Violent Femmes.
Hey, that would be fun.
I did not enjoy it.
I don't know what they're like live, but I know in the back of the soccer bus, that shit was playing constantly, especially Why Can't I Get Just One Fuck? Why can't I just one fuck?
I guess
Must have something to do with luck.
This is also during an all-day event. So they were only up there for like 5 songs. And they played Blister in the Sun, which is obviously what everybody knows.
Right.
The second song in. After they played Blister in the Sun, half the audience got up and left to go to the bathroom and get drinks.
Well, that's because they became a religious band, and I believe they played Blister in the Sun, and they didn't play any of their more older songs because a lot of them were of kind of controversial topics. So, like, Why Can't I Get Just One Fuck? Obviously, would be one of them.
Hey, religious people fuck.
Yeah, but they don't sing about it. Not in public.
That's true.
All right. The turd in the background says, welcome to the Straight Red Motherfucking welcome to the Straight Red Motherfucking Card. Roster release day came and went. And Gio Raina is back. Well, we all knew he'd be back. So that's the news. Mm-hmm. Well, he was back already. But Gregg grew some balls and apologized. We don't know that. Awesome. My wife blew me today. Get the hell out of here. Well, good for you.
Woo!
Wow.
She saw that presser and she's like, God damn. Like, did some jinxes flowing, I guess.
We do know that Gregg's meeting with Gio was via Zoom, though. And we'll get to that. We're going to cover the presser. We're going to cover the team. We're going to cover all kinds of things, by the way. I will say this. I have, in my days, listening to people talk about this Grand Prix and that Grand Prix, I have never heard anybody call a Grand Prix. Is that an English thing? Is that a British thing? A Grand Prix?
Because I feel it has to be just somebody who doesn't know how to pronounce the word. It's a very phonetic way of saying it.
Well, I was watching a darts tournament, which was in England, and the two guys covering this tournament, which is called the World Darts Grand Prix, called it Grand Prix all night. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering, is that what they call it in England or parts of England? Because in parts of England as well, we've discussed this before, they don't say H. The letter H is not H, it's H, which I find very weird because it doesn't sound right to me. Now let's go to Group H. I'm like, H? You mean H? Like,
or Z?
Z, Group Z, Group Zebra. I don't know.
Zebras. There's
zebras, I can take Z. That doesn't throw me off, but H throws me off just a little. It's like, what? Okay, is that the way it was originally said? Apparently it was in English. So what do you got?
Very breathy when they're saying the H. H.
Yeah, it's kind of like basil versus basil, and herbs versus herbs. Herbs and spices. No, herbs and spices is what herbs and spices is what they say. All right, weird shit. Also, we've got. I'm going to be trying a new dish here coming up. It's called spaghetti assassina, and it's like you put some oil in a pan and you fry the fucking spaghetti with a bunch of hot red peppers, flakes, and then you add the tomato sauce after it's kind of mildly scorched. So I'm going to be trying that and see how that works. As a foodie, I'll report back to everybody on how that is or how that went. By the way, the 2030 World Cup is going to be split between, well, the beginning stages are going to be in South America with Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, depending where you're from.
Just 3 of the opening matches are going to be there.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And then they're going to flop it on over to Spain, Portugal, Morocco. It's okay.
None of those teams that are playing those whatever 6 teams that are playing in those opening matches there, then have to fly across the Atlantic to get to the next games.
It's weird.
I feel like that's kind of a dick move, right?
It is a dick move, number one. But number two, why Paraguay? I mean, if you're talking about like historic teams that have more regularly gone to World Cups, that'd be Peru or Chile. Have been traditionally better than Paraguay. Paraguay's down there with like Bolivia and Venezuela, right? So I don't understand how they picked those teams. Did they throw darts at a map, or they just said, no, those are all really close together? I'm guessing that's what it must be, but does it really matter? Do they have to be close together? They're all going to have to be in South America. Why don't you pick the top 3 South American teams historically? And yeah, so Argentina makes sense. Brazil would have made sense. Uruguay would have made sense. They've all won World Cups. But I guess Brazil just had a World Cup, so fuck them. So I understand why you leave them out, but why not Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay, or Argentina, Peru, and Uruguay? I don't know. Peru's not been good for a long time, so maybe there's something I don't know about, but I bet you one of the determining factors was money. Okay. So last thing here, Seb's horrible take on Miami tickets. Prices going up, doubling, basically. And Seb, Herc was more like, hey, man, that's going to leave some people out. Like, especially in a day and age when a lot of families are basically living paycheck to paycheck. When the tickets go from 28 to 52, and you got a family of 5, that kind of puts you out now, because that's
for like the lowest tiered seat too, man.
Right. It's just going to get much more expensive for everybody else. This is like the worst, most like tone deaf take I've ever heard Seb give. I mean, I've heard Seb give. I'm sure Herc has heard many more than I have heard in private, but this one seemed a little off to me. And I don't think Herc really held him 100% accountable for this take. So I think we should.
Didn't hold his toes to the fire.
Yeah, let's see what he says though.
Lose is much more. You lose culture, you lose grassroots, you lose credibility. Look, of all the problems I got with Inter Miami, this is actually not it. I think this is a fair representation of the change in value from one season to another if you add Lionel Messi. And if I'm an Inter Miami fan, I may be bitter. I may be a little bit lighter in the wallet, but I know I can make my money back. The MLS regular season, like, I don't have to go to every game.
Does that mean you're going to make your money back? You don't make your money back. You pay for the tickets. You go to the game. You watch the game. You go home. You go to bed, and you're out that money. You don't get it back. Nobody's giving you that money back, so I don't understand that comment right away. I'm like, that he's trying to say you're getting value for your dollar, but you can't even assure me that Messi's going to play in that game that I just bought tickets for my whole family to go to. I mean, there's no guarantee he's going to play. So
maybe in Miami, it must be like you're only going to play home games. You're never going to play any of the away games.
I mean, it's a crapshoot. If he's injured,
we saw what happened in Chicago. They had him as questionable leading all the way up to the game, but he didn't even fly into Chicago. He was still in Miami. I mean, 17 plus hours before the game, they knew that he wasn't joining the team. So why in the hell did MLS have him as questionable? Because they didn't want a bunch of refunds for tickets.
That's correct. That's one.
So they kept it as question mark. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was great to see 60,000 plus people in Soldier Field. I mean, I feel for some of those people who went there obviously to just see Messi. And mind you, they got a great game. We beat Inter. We beat Inter 4-1. Yeah. Well, they're not Inter fans. They're Messi fans, and Messi didn't play, so they should be happy that their hometown beat another team, right? You
would think. I doubt they even care though, because if they cared, they'd be going to the games.
The atmosphere sounded good though. But so it was nice to see that many people in there. And I think Pete had mentioned something along the lines of like, it's great seeing those people. It's I'm tired of this team being shit. Basically saying like they need to do something. I'm like, it'll happen.
They're not shit. They're not Chicago. Good. They're not shit this season. Of
the since 2009, I think we made the intro playoff game twice.
You're going to make the playoffs this year.
Unless we completely Chicago fire it up. I mean we got two more games. We got 2 more games, and they're against teams that are vying for the same spot that we are. And we have at least a 2-point head start on New York City, I think it is.
You should make it. You should make it. You should. This should be a playoff.
Guti's back, so I think we're going to be good moving forward with these last 2 matches.
I think so. I think you'll squeak in this year. I don't know what you're going to do in the playoffs, but
anything's possible there.
I mean, it's not a total trash year, is all I'm saying. You're not. I mean, there have been years you guys not. I mean, by this time of the season, like playoffs, that's over. That's done. There isn't even talk of playoffs. So we'll let Seb finish.
Well, I guess just the point, real quick. We'll let him finish here in a sec. But he's talking about the price increase, and you had talked about how it's going to price a lot of people out, especially since we have all the inflation going up. Food prices are astronomical. Fuck inflation. That's not inflation. That's highway robbery.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but you're talking about 100% increase from what the ticket price was this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's insanely stupid. They're going to be playing in a half-empty stadium because nobody's going to be able to afford that shit.
There's going to be a significant group of people who are working class or middle class who are still living paycheck to paycheck. Because if you're middle class and you do have a decent job, and so does the wife, but you have 4 kids, you're going to be limited. You are focused on your bills first. Your car payments, fixing whatever leak happened in the basement, putting a new roof on your on your house because it's falling apart, or whatever. There are all kinds of priorities, and those priorities become before a soccer game. Mm-hmm. And so, sadly, I think it is. Some people are just not going to go now. You price them out of it.
You're going to lose season ticket holders, and you're going to be heavily reliant on individual ticket sales game to game.
Yeah, you're going to have to hope there's a lot of upper middle class to rich people who are going to show up every fucking game. That's a lot to ask, because the thing about football, at least historically, it was the everyman's game. It was the guy, the working class guy could go and watch his club play. If you're taking that away because of the financial and economic situation that we are currently in this country, with over 50% of the country living paycheck to paycheck, probably more, probably higher than 50%, you just priced a bunch of people out at $58 a ticket or whatever it is. It's in the 50s. So, this take seems like very callous and very tone deaf to me from Seb. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I know that whatever I'm paying, as long as Lionel Messi is playing, I know 100% I'm going to get my money back. This deserves to be hurt the most expensive.
Okay, so the get my money back, as you're right, is just inherent value of seeing Messi play on the field. That's not, I mean, that's like, if I go to a movie, I'm not saying, you say I got my money's worth.
Yes.
No, you don't say I got my money back.
Correct.
I got my money's worth. I enjoyed the movie. That was, $15 well spent in the theater.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not saying, well, yeah, I went there and enjoyed the movie and I got my $15 back.
Yeah.
That's not what we say. It's a horrible way of saying it.
Seb, it's just you get your money's worth. You don't get your money back. Sorry, buddy. So, if old daughter Susie all of a sudden has some sort of, venereal disease that needs to be treated, and it's going to cost you beaucoup bucks, even with your insurance, which is already through the roof, by the way. Thank you, Obamacare. So, whatever you want to call that healthcare shit. I don't care. Don't call it.
This echoes, and I hated econ, taking in college and stuff like that. But there was a topic in econ. They talked about utils. Basically, it's the amount of satisfaction you get for X, And it's like you could eat an apple and you could get, I'm making up numbers here, but you get like 20 utils. Mm-hmm. But if you have a second apple, the amount of utils you have, I mean, maybe this has been a decade and some change here, guys, but it decreases for each apple you eat afterwards and stuff like that. I always thought that was a weird thing, because what if I really like apples? What if I get just as much satisfaction out of the second apple as I do the first?
No, I'm with you on that. because I have bought, a lot of lobster tails in the last year.
Yeah.
But my pleasure rating for eating lobster has certainly decreased. Like the first few times I did it, I'm like, yeah, this is delicious. And then it kind of fizzled a little. I'm like, it's good, but I want to do something else. I want to eat something else. So, it's like anything, dude. It's like marriage. It's like marriage. You're eating the same cracker every night. Okay.
Whoa. Why does she have to be white?
You're eating the same Ritz. Every night you're eating a Ritz cracker or whatever you want, but it's the same Ritz cracker, right? After a while, you're kind of like, I've had that Ritz cracker about 1,000 times. I wish I could have another Ritz cracker, but I can't. So that's why I'm going to do something else, like watch Pornhub or whatever. Anyhow, the point is you can't have everything time after time after time. It's just not as enjoyable. And that's a lot of problem with people who are very wealthy, right? Like if you just fell into wealth and you start buying all this great shit, you're like, God damn, I love all of it. But if, that goes on for too long, the joy of it can decrease. So maybe that's what you're talking about with the util. So Derek equal cancel. I haven't said anything cancelable. I'm
Derek,
speaking for the working class.
You said a racial slur.
Oh, cracker. I did get your joke. I guess I did get your joke, but I didn't take it very seriously. So, right.
Well, of course, it wasn't meant to be taken serious.
No, it wasn't. But cracker, yeah, no. All right, let's.
All right.
Yeah,
we're gonna finish up, Seb. Okay.
Yeah.
Expensive ticket in Major League Soccer, and honestly, it deserves to be the most expensive ticket in American sports. When you think about who Lionel Messi is, and on top of that,
you're crazy.
The demand, the hot demand. There's 80,000 seats in an NFL stadium. There's 20,000 seats here. There is
Are you
no supply
advocating
and
for
lots
scalping
of demand.
tickets for gouging prices?
I
think he is. I don't think he realizes it, but that's what's really going to happen here. If you think that those $58 tickets are going to stay $58, they're probably not going to stay $58 either. Because
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, because after you get done with the guys that go out and scalp all and do all that sort of illegal shit, the prices are just going to get higher. So,
well, that's the thing. I guess in the end, does MLS and does Miami really even care? Because they're still selling the tickets. They've got one more year to milk this.
Milk it,
the cow,
milk the Messi cow.
Yeah. So they're going to milk it. They're going to sell these crazy prices that some high-enders will buy, of course. Maybe some corporations will buy them for their company. They give away or whatever. But yes, a lot of them are going to be purchased by scalpers and then resold. And somebody's going to end up paying $200 to sit behind a fucking goal to watch Messi possibly play.
Yeah. I wonder if anybody can relate this to me, but did LA Galaxy tickets go up by 100% when Beckham arrived? The season after Beckham arrived?
You would have heard that, but they also had 5 years of Beckham, so maybe they didn't do that.
Maybe they didn't milk it that hard.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's a lot of tone deafness out there, and there's a lot of greed. But that's not normal. That's not abnormal. That's just how generally people operate. Like, let's milk it for as much as we can get out of it, and fuck the grassroots fan. The middle class, the hardworking middle class fan, and his 4 kids can all fuck themselves because
they can watch it on the television, Derek.
That's correct. Yep, just watch it on TV. And
Jackie D says yes. BMR says I think the LA tickets did go up.
Did they go up 100% though?
Oh, I doubt it's that much. Yeah,
that's what we're talking about here, and Seb loves it.
I guess the other thing to consider is when Beckham came, obviously massive. Biggest star that came over in MLS, whatever, in a decade. Huge, massive. But definitely not Messi levels when it comes to popularity.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was. Dude, he was on the cover.
No, I'm not saying he wasn't popular. I'm just saying that Messi is not Messi popular.
No, he was just as popular as Messi. He just is not as good of a player. He was Huge, dude. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, every fucking magazine, ESPN magazine. It was on every night.
Saying that though, Derek.
On ESPN, on the rundown of all the games every night, basketball, football. Oh, look, LA Galaxy's being. I know. I was an LA Galaxy fan, dude. It was orgasmic. It was orgasmic for the press and the media.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying, if David Beckham and the LA Galaxy came to Chicago and they played at Soldier Field, do you think they would have sold 60,000 tickets?
Hell yes, they would have.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Look, Brett. Go look at the fucking attendance numbers at all of Beckham's games when he got here in season 1 and 2. They're outrageously gigantic. Wherever
I'm not gonna do it right now, Derek. I will look this up, but I mean, it's.
You don't need to look it up. Just trust me, Brett.
I'm not gonna trust you because it's not gonna be the same. I was there the entire time with Chicago. I was following all of that right along with it, Derek.
I was an LA Galaxy fan. However, that's what you're missing.
Living in Bloomington, I understand. Yes.
Doesn't matter. I read all the press. I read all the media. I covered that shit. Okay, don't trust me. Fuck it. No. Beckham was small. It was small.
No. You're misinterpreting. You're misrepresenting what I'm saying, Derek. Nope.
I'm sorry, Beckham as a
be a little catty bitch. Go for it, man.
Fuck off, dude. Beckham was just as big of a superstar. There is no difference between the superstardom between Messi and Beckham.
I'm going with popularity as a whole, and no, I would not say that he's as popular. He was as popular with the fans in general across the board as Messi.
Oh my God, Beckham was a rock star. He has underwear commercials with his bulge, like he was huge, dude. All right, you missed it then. You just missed it. Yes, you did. Beckham was probably even though he was not even close to the best player on the planet, not even close, which Messi is. Beckham was a fucking superstar. That's how he was. Because why? He's fucking good to look at. He was gorgeous, right? As the girls said. He's gorgeous. Oh, I love Beckham. He's fucking great looking guy. Well, Messi's not that great looking. It's not like the girls are all slobber knocking over fucking Messi. People respect him for his game. Beckham was respected mostly for who his image was. He was married to a Spice Girl, blah, blah, blah. He was a first-class celebrity. He'd been on every show in England, every show in the United States. David Letterman, fuck, you name it. He'd done them all. Messi can't even speak English. There you go. That's a step. That is one step below.
I'm not referring to him as far as a media figure, Derek. So, regardless, I will look up the attendance during that time period, and I'll see.
Well, what are you referring to him as? Just a soccer player?
As far as fans flocking across the United States to watch him play, it's not the same.
It was. You look it up.
I will.
We'll move on to another topic, and don't call me a bitch again. All right.
I'll call you a catty bitch whenever I want to.
You're a cunt.
Never seen you so buttered, Derek. Called you a catty bitch and you blew up.
We're near Halloween. All right, Spencer Darity for $5.69. Hola, Hoosier homies. Sorry I'm late. Mr. Milk might move Miami to higher prices. Mr. Milk. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I already forgot about the milking process.
Yes. Spencer, we love you. Thank you for the $5.69. Jason Gonzalez Ortega for $1.99. Soto still hasn't played for Klagenfurt this season. Also, I have a pill stuck in my throat. A pill. Water. Get some water down that throat. But unless it's in the windpipe, I think you mean throat. In that case, yeah, you just need you need some beer. Like this, a Golden Drac, which is what I'm drinking tonight, to wash it down. You need some lubricant, right?
Yeah, you gotta lube up that throat.
Gotta lube up the throat, buddy. All right, line for $15. Thank you, my friend. All right, Brett's warming up the car as we speak. The USA won its group in 1930 in Uruguay. Yes, they did. Well, they went further than they really would ever really go again, right? Another one in the 50s, obviously. That was the England one, right? Where in the 50s we beat England in that upset. I think that was in the 50s. 54.
It was the 50s, yes.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact year. I know it's in groups of 4, but anyhow, yeah. I mean, there weren't many teams playing in 1930, so there's that. But I do have an old book here that my grandfather gave me when I was a kid, and it was all about all the World Cups and all the history. It was all in German, but still, I could read the most of it when I was younger, and I can still read it today. Just can't speak goddamn German very well. You got to fix that. Thanks, Len. We appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
All right, so you want to do?
I don't have a lot of fluff lined up tonight, Derek. So I know that we're going to have a lot of talking points.
We do.
And I don't want to be here for 5 hours because I'm going to be on my way to Kentucky tomorrow for a bourbon trail.
Nice. I thought you were going to say Len's house, but
he must be on the way. Sorry, I'm assuming he. Wasn't that the name of a band? Wasn't it Len that sang the if you stole my sunshine, or if you take my sunshine? Take my sunshine?
You are the sunshine of my life. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's if you steal my sunshine.
But I got a different song going there.
I know.
You are
this band right here. Derek, you don't remember this band from the 90s?
No.
Canadian band Len?
No. It's probably going to suck.
If you steal my sunshine. That's all I remember from it.
You're not going to play it, are you?
Oh, fuck no.
Oh, okay. It doesn't matter.
I didn't like it then.
We're not monetizing it, but you could play it if we want to make fun of it. Yeah. No, missed that one. Frank Hassler, $5. Derek, weren't you at the USA matches in the 1930s World Cup? Frank! Frank, I was born in 1971, my friend. So I missed that by about 41 years. And that's okay. I still had the books to read about it, and with all the pictures. In fact, there are a whole lot of pictures, by the way, of the 1930 and the 1950s World Cups. There aren't a lot. There's a very little footage of both of those, which is why you can't really go back and watch the whole game of us beating England, for instance. There's just not a lot of archive footage that's outside of small clips, and still photos. Be cool to watch it.
Photos would be about it, yeah.
Yeah, I think photos were it. For 1930, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, people rolling around with the handheld camcorder, you know?
Right. That didn't happen until like the later 30s.
A bunch of people like taking a lot of photos at once.
Right. And we didn't really get color footage until the very late 30s, early 40s, when the Nazis started filming and in color their own goings on, if you will, their pageantry and all that shit they came up with. Al Weinstein says, if you ask Derek about history, he'll just talk about his childhood. That's not true, I don't think. But I see the parallel you're drawing there, and you're trying to make me old. All right. One around for the 1930 World Cup or the 50 World Cup. My dad was born in 45. So he would have been 5 years old for the 50s World Cup. All right.
All right. Like I was saying before we got sidetracked there.
Okay.
I got one piece of fluff this week because I knew we were going to talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So Derek, I'm going to show you a photo here in just a second.
Okay.
You're going to stare for 30 seconds.
Okay. I've always got these
at this red dot. Okay. After the 30 seconds, and I'll count it out. I want you to look over at a wall and then blink real fast. Everybody in the chat, you guys can do this too, okay?
I know what the result is going to be already.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. The dot's going to be on the wall. But
No, not even close.
Really?
Yeah. Okay,
this isn't some hypnosis where I'm going to turn into some like mass formation psychosis idiot. Like
yes.
50% of the society that we live in.
You are right. David Beckham sucks donkey balls.
No, it's nothing against or for David Beckham. By the way.
Al Weinstein says it's a dick. It's not a dick, guys. So you're gonna look at the red dot, and then you're gonna for 30 seconds. I'll count it out, and then you'll look at the wall and blink real fast.
Okay, let's do it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I look at the wall and blink real fast.
Okay, there's a girl.
But it's a girl that's in color. Like it looks like it's an actual photo, not this photo negative that I have on the screen.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, that is.
Eyes are mysterious things. My eyes are fucked up more so than anyways.
Okay, I feel like I need some sort of help and recovery from that. That's pretty fucked up. But you know what? The eyes are an amazing thing, right?
Yeah.
The fact that we have eyeballs that can see shit in the first place and in color is pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, that
Absolutely
is wild. That is wild. That is wild. It is crazy. I mean, I was staring at that wall. I'm like, wait a minute. That's like a chicken fucking color on my wall. What the fuck's going on here? Yeah, that's fucked up.
I had that pulled up yesterday, and my son did it. He looked at it. He freaked out. I was like, what?
Did you notice there were 3 dots of different colors on there, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There's definitely a scientific reason why this is working, but still.
No, I mean, because I couldn't see the other 2 dots at the beginning. I could only see the red one faintly.
Oh.
But the more I stared, the more I could see the other 2, and they became clearer and clearer and clearer the longer I stared. Now, I blinked a lot, too, so that probably didn't help me, but still showed up on my wall. Crazy, Brett.
Crazy.
All right.
All right. Derek,
yeah.
we haven't done this in a while.
Oh.
But it's because we're nowhere near a transfer season anymore. But
okay,
there's more news.
See if I can unmute myself.
What was it? Hashtag. What was the hashtag we did for this? Nut guzzlers. Nut guzzlers.
Nut guzzlers.
Hashtag yes. Nut guzzlers.
Hashtag nut guzzlers.
But here goes. We're gonna go in 3, 2.
Can I unmute?
You can when I do it. Sure.
I'm gonna try.
Okay, go for it.
Transfer news. Transfer news. Transfer news. Everybody loves my transfer news, but me.
Yeah, you started a second or 2 off there, but you caught up. You caught up in the end.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Good. It wasn't off on mine, but it was off obviously for you.
Yeah, you started about a second off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what is transfer news? Gonna cut out. Okay, let's start with Joshua first. U.S. men's national team Borussia Mönchengladbach right back Joe Scally is the target of AC Milan. Oh, for Christ. Really? No, he's not.
They're keeping an eye on their tabs.
Who continue to look to reinforce their right back position. No, dude, no. That's not going to happen. He is not an AC Milan level player. He is a good defender. He brings you nothing going forward. He is not what they're looking for, and that's not happening. Gonna go out on a limb and say, says Chris Gary, this is more bullshit transfer news. Can't be do the backwards R. Straight red card at you, man. We forgot the hashtag nut guzzlers. Nut guzzlers.
Yeah.
Yes. Nut guzzlers. Because this is just totally ridiculous. If Joe Scally was a locked-in starter at Gladbach and killing it both on the defense and the offense, he would be a target of AC Milan. He does neither of those things. The only part of that he does actually, because he's not a regular starter on the every, is he's a good defender and a competent one. And he doesn't fuck up a whole lot. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes because he doesn't take any chances. He's very competent going forward, but he's not going to score you goals. He's not going to make all these assists. That's not happening with Joe Scally. Joe Scally is just a very competent Bundesliga player. What the fuck happened? Oh, I know what you did.
See, my light fell.
I can still see you.
Yeah. I don't know if this is really going to work.
You don't need it, actually. I can see you just fine.
I'm dangling it.
You're dangling. All right. Let's move on, I guess.
All right, Derek.
Yeah. U.S. soccer behind the crest.
Almost there. Okay. Yeah. This is just pulled up. I had no intention of bringing this up, but doesn't it look like Tact and this woman are really crushing on Kermashi here? Kermashi? Is that his name? They're fawning over. Yeah, Tact and this lady he's interviewing.
It's not a lady. That's Breck Shea.
Wait, what?
Yes.
She's got curly blonde hair though.
Yeah, but that's Breck Shea, the snake master, the pig head cutter.
Yeah, there's just a lot of pink in the background, and then there's this the picture of this U.S. Ute.
They do look like they're fawning. I agree. It's a little weird. Okay, this was the best one. He talks about his time with FC Dallas, Stoke, Orlando City, Atlanta, Inter Miami, and even Jason Christ. It was fun to see Breck no hold back. I still have to watch this because some of the information about inside information I sent to Tack about Breck Shea from his Dallas days. You remember this too, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
I sent it to him. I said, this is what happened. You can ask him about it if you want to. It is not well-known information, but it is goddamn factual information, and you can take it or leave it. But I'd love it if you snuck it in the interview and talked about his party days, partying days at FC Dallas, and how he had to have, because back then, apartment-wise, you would team up with a teammate in the apartments from FC Dallas would provide you. They would have the teammates together. He had several of his teammates say, I ain't living with this guy no more, man. This guy's bringing home chicks. They're up till fucking 4 a.m.
They never asked me to join.
No.
I imagine that's why they're pissed.
Well, I think it was just a new girl every night.
What a selfish prick.
It seemed like, right? And this is coming from someone in the know that we knew back in 2011 or whatever the fuck it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we joked about it back then. We actually D-Rec made a cartoon about it.
The good old days. You know, what we should do, Derek? We should go back and re-upload those videos. The D-Rec ones, not all of our videos, because that'd be pointless. But the D-Rec ones are timeless.
They are timeless, and this one was, I think, when D-Rec showed up at the hotel to interview Berhalter, and he first walked in.
Wasn't Berhalter?
No, he first walked in on Beckerman, his room. Beckerman opened the door, and a big waft of pot smoke came out. And then he knocked on the door of shit. Anyhow, he finally found it was called The Search for Klinsmann, is the name of the video.
Okay, well, you said Berhalter, so.
Oh, shit. Yeah, The Search for Klinsmann. And then he eventually finds Klinsmann, and he's actually in, what's-her-face's?
Hope Solo?
Hope Solo's hotel room. And he asked, what are you doing in Hope Solo's? And he said, I'm teaching her how to, something about her box. Something about her box. And, goalkeeping. But her box was involved in the answer. But that's also the same video where What's-His-Face saw it and threatened to beat me up because, remember, he was at the hotel too. And he was all drunk and he puked when he answered his hotel room door.
Yeah.
And then that guy wrote me and threatened to beat me up. I don't know if he threatened you. He threatened me. He said,
Danny? No, I never.
Yeah, Danny Zetola.
Yeah.
Threatened to, I'm going to find out where you live and I'm going to beat you. I'm going to come and beat the fuck out of you.
Was it sent over like Facebook or something? Because did you get your email somehow?
I don't know. No, it's on Big Soccer.
Oh, so okay.
Yeah. And it was on Big Soccer, and it just spread. So he saw it. And then because our emails were up there, he emailed me personally and told me he's going to find out where I live and kick my ass. He never did, but thankfully. But yeah, the whole video was him. He answers the door. I'm like, hey, Danny, what are you fucking doing here? You're not even on the team. He's like, and he just pukes all over. Yeah. And then I'm like, hey, man, did you bring your brothers, or did you guys get in another brawl at a bar, or whatever the joke was at the time? Remember, he had just been arrested.
Yeah, he's just got in a fight at a bar, yeah.
Right, and arrested. He and his brothers were arrested for a fight in a bar. So I was just making fun of him being a drunk, brawling dick. And then he proved it by threatening to come and beat me up. I mean, seriously. You can't make this shit up, people. You cannot make this shit up. All right. Behind the crest. Oh, this is just the best part of this. So we thought we had embarrassed this whole shtick so much we would never see it again, right? We embarrassed Gregg. I thought he would have watched the video. Someone would have got it to him. Someone would have told him, because they're players on the team watching this show. All right. And they know what we've said about this and how gooberish this sounds. We're going to change the way the world views American soccer. And you and I have discussed this plenty of times and said, this is not how it's done. And we changed dick nothing at the last World Cup. Dick nothing. We didn't get any further than we've ever been before, right? We didn't reach Bruce Arena levels in the last World Cup. We got dominated and outcoached by the Netherlands. And the only way we're going to change the way the rest of the world views American soccer is by these guys being on top teams in top leagues, individually making that difference for their clubs. It ain't going to be what you just did, Gregg, in the World Cup. But this is what Gregg does. He's like, see, we have changed the way the rest of the world views me. You didn't change dick, dude. We did the same thing. We always did. The people making the difference are the Pulisic's and the fucking McKennies and the Weahs and the Mooses out there who are on big teams and showing for those clubs. That's what's changing how people view American soccer players.
I think Berhalter was just hoping to get a motivational poster made so that he can sell them to all the businesses around the world. Sort of like the hang in there with the cat holding on to the wire.
Yeah.
You know, same concept. He just wants a Berhalter penis head. And then it's like, we're going to change the way the world views. And you can customize it. Views Microsoft OS.
I mean, listen, it's almost like saying, I mean, all slogans are shit, right? There are lots of shitty slogans, like make America better again, or whatever slogan you can come up with. There are lots of really cheap slogans that mean absolutely nothing, and this is another one of them. And Gregg actually thinks that AC Milan and Juventus and all the other teams, that PSV, have changed their minds about American soccer players because of what they did in the World Cup. No, they haven't. Because if they had, Zimmerman would be playing in fucking at least the championship in England at this point. I'm sorry. Nobody watched Zimmerman play the World Cup and go, no, we've underestimated this guy. He really needs to be.
And Zimmerman cat can really pass it over to Jedi. Maybe he can play at Fulham.
He's really good at passing to Ream and letting him do all the work.
Did I say Ream?
The ball forward. You said Jedi.
Oh, shit. Meant to say Ream. Yeah. Well, same team, same American, I guess.
Well, and we've heard this from behind the scenes, right? A lot of the way American players on the national team describe Gregg is, and I quote, he's a really weird guy. He's a really weird guy. He's kind of weird. And this is kind of Gregg forcing the issue on this topic. He should have just shut his fucking mouth and let this go away. But no. We're going to bring it up in September camp, right? This is the where we play the goat herders, the teams that have teams full of goat herders, right?
Yeah.
The Uzbeks and the whatevers.
Omans.
The Omanians. The Omania stands.
I believe it's when you're talking about the people, it's Omen.
Something like that. The Omani? The Omani? I think it's the Omani people, right?
Yeah, that's when you have a plural and you just have the I at the end, right?
I don't know. I do know Uzbeks is the correct way to say Uzbekistan.
Evie hates it. She's always like, shut up, Brett. It's like every time there's a plural for a word, like horse, it's horse eye. Because you can do cactus, cacti.
Yeah.
It's horse eye, fish eye.
You mean singular, right? Not plural. Singular of a horse would be horse eye, right? Plural would be horses.
There was a cactus, and these are all cacti.
Maybe so.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You're the English major. You're supposed to correct me on this shit.
I know. I tried, but now I feel like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. All right, let's just move on to this before I look stupider.
Yeah, we don't want to look like Greg.
Well, we don't have any slogans like this, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome, everybody.
Okay.
Welcome meeting here. It's great to be back. The most impactful thing for me personally was seeing you guys over the last 6 months and seeing how strong the culture is and realizing that it's not about one person.
Yeah.
It's about what's been built. That's been fun to see. 4 years ago, the first meeting we've ever had, right? We put up a slide, Wes, right?
Wes.
What did the slide say?
Oh, man.
First off, I know Wes parroted the new slogan and stuff, but I'm like, why do you got to pick on the guy?
I know.
He's like, something about changing the.
I gotta say, if there's one player out there that's totally goes home probably, and says to himself, yeah, man, this is so fucking silly shit. Just thinks it's silly as shit, right? But we'll play along because he knows he's going to play, but he plays along with a smile on his face and sort of this geeky attitude because he knows this is all fucking jargon bullshit, right?
Well, you know, Wes does a lot of impersonations of his teammates and stuff like that. He's got
yes,
Pogba,
I know.
I wonder if he goes home and does impersonations of Greg.
He probably does. But the funny thing about when he was announcing what we were going to do next was to change the way the United States saw American soccer or viewed American soccer. And he did that with such a cheesy smile on his face.
Yeah.
He was cheesing because he knows this is cheesy shit. So anyhow.
It's like, you know, Greg comes back in and goes, all right, guys, after the last cycle, maybe trying to change how the world views us is too big. Let's start at the ground level. Let's start America. We're going to change how America views soccer.
Well, that's really U.S. Soccer's job and Greg's job. That's called winning and then being real with the fans and being a little bit more, what would you call that? Authentic? Being authentic, an authentic personality that you can get behind. Because I think if the people, the general public knew more about the players on this team, they would love this team. Mm. But the problem is the players outside of Pulisic, who's not the most charismatic guy you've ever met, they are. U.S. Soccer is the face of U.S. Soccer, and that's Gregg. And Gregg makes sure it's Gregg. And so do the rest of the turds that work at U.S. Soccer. The players aren't the face of the team, and they should be.
Yeah, and quite frankly, yeah. I mean, you start creating videos. I know they're doing the behind the crest, and they do a couple things where maybe a player walks around with the camera or whatnot. But there are enough characters on this team that you, as a content creator, should be able to have a plethora of videos that you can utilize for marketing purposes that are just going to endear them with the common people.
Yes,
who might not even be soccer fans,
exactly, and that don't spurt out Berhalterisms about system and about changing the way the world views soccer. Pulisic, like you don't have to double down on Gregg idiocy. Just ignore that shit and just give people your own perspective. It doesn't have to veer from Gregg's perspective. It could just be yours and be aligned. But it doesn't have to be shit spewed, right? It's spewed. Yeah. You're re-spewing, you're regurgitating shit you've been told to say. And it's so obvious that's when it becomes that obvious. It becomes disgusting. I don't want to see that. Let these kids be themselves. Don't give them fucking lines to say. Don't give them jargon they have to repeat in fucking goddamn interviews like robots. And that's the problem with Gregg on the field, and it's become a problem with Gregg when it comes to his own players giving interviews. It's robotic. Gregg's a fucking robot. Prove to me he's not at this point. Yes. By the way, BMR, I did see yes, that was awesome.
I like Vlahovic's impersonation of West.
I did too. I think it was even better. Let's change how New York views soccer. Let's change how the Bronx views soccer. Let's change how Arthur Avenue views soccer. Yeah, you don't need to do none of that needs to be a goal, because the way people view things is through all kinds of own subjective lenses. If you really want to get the fans excited about American soccer, what you do is you go out there and put a product out that people want to watch. You let the players be themselves and have their own personality and not regurgitate jargon. And you, fucking Mr. Roboto, Berhalter, stop using jargon. Stop saying stupid stuff. Stop being such a fucking weirdo in general in interviews. Just like loosen up a little, unpucker the asshole, be a real person, because we don't get to see that a whole lot. Even when you become unguarded in interviews and you talk about your back passes, it's always the same shit. Your back passes, your fucking shoes, whatever, your leadership skills. Nobody wants to hear about any of that shit anymore. We're done with that. The back passes were the basketball pass. That was the best part of it. But, even that's played out at this point. We don't want to hear about your coffee cups and your goddamn shoes. Certainly none of that. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Just be a real guy. At least Bruce Arena, for whatever he said to his assistant coach, probably told him he was a little fairy or something. That would be my guess. That's why he got banned from the team, or something worse. But he's a real dude. He's a real guy. Like, I can listen to him talk.
Feelings. Yeah.
I don't know about feelings. He's not.
Sorry, that's a quote from another YouTuber. Sorry.
Yeah, Bruce Arena's not a touchy-feely guy, but you know what? He's like a normal fucking human being that you could have a beer with and a talk with. I don't know what would happen with a beer with Gregg Berhalter. It might get weird, real fast, because he's uncomfortable with himself. All right. Shit,
just jumping back to the Vlahovic's impersonation with Weston and stuff like that. We've seen videos of his interaction with Pogba and how he does the French accent with Pogba and stuff like that. And guess what? And I'm not saying that this is a marketing move to have Weston at Juventus, because it's not trying to into American audiences, because Weston's still playing consistently.
Yes.
So he's good enough to be there. But Juve's marketing team is leaning into it. They are constantly posting those small little clips.
Yeah.
And they go viral on Twitter. They go everywhere. Everybody sees that shit. They laugh. They're like, oh, that's fun. That's fun. Ha, ha, ha. But everybody sees that stuff. Why can't we do that?
Right. Because it's really hard for us to tap into the general audience. Like all the people that watch the U.S. men's national team religiously, we all know who Wes is. We all know who the real characters of this team are. We know who the backbone of the team is. But that's not something that we feature a lot. I like the golf scenes where the guys go out and play golf together. That's kind of fun. I'd like to see more of that and less of this locker room horse shit that we see in this video. But go ahead. Keep playing it. I mean.
Well, yeah, we cut him off right before he says it. So.
Yep.
What did we want to do?
Change the way the world views American soccer.
Boom.
Boom.
They're clapping Wes.
Sarcastically clapping at Wes.
They're clapping for Wes. They're not clapping because we did that during the World Cup.
I'm sorry. I love he's changed the way the world views American soccer, and he clicks it over and goes, boom.
Yeah. Exactly.
My God.
It's just embarrassing because he's clicking it and putting up there as if mission accomplished. It's not measurable, you fuck face. How is it measurable? Nothing's changed. Nothing's really inherently changed. You had Musa move from Villarreal to fucking AC Milan. You had Pulisic move from Chelsea to AC Milan. How has anything massively changed? Tillman didn't play in the World Cup. He's now the best player on PSV in the last game. You know, that had nothing to do. They're not connecting things. Tillman was signed for other reasons, not because he had a great World Cup. So anyhow, the most monotone, uncharismatic manager ever, for sure. For sure.
Well,
and listen, I didn't come out here being negative, but I'm sorry. I can't put up with this.
So you threw me for a loop when you said Tillman. It wasn't because Tillman had a great World Cup. I'm like, all of a sudden I started thinking, like, Tillman wasn't at the World Cup.
He wasn't even there. He wasn't even at the World Cup. That's not why PSV signed him.
PSV watched what we did in the World Cup, and they're like, we got to get me some of those Americans.
Yeah, the ones that didn't play, like Tillman and Pepe. They weren't even there.
Yeah.
So you're not accomplishing any of this because of the World Cup performance. They signed Pepe because he had a great season last season at the worst team in fucking Holland. And they're like, that guy has some talent. They signed Dest, I don't know, because he used to be really good with Ajax. They signed fucking Tillman because he had a decent season with Rangers. This does not have anything to do with what the World Cup performances were for any of those, because 2/3 of them didn't even play in the World Cup. And it's not like we were really that super competitive with Holland. We had a moment, and then we got trounced. So it's just ridiculous. Did we have a good game versus England? Sure. But we've done that versus Portugal. We've done that to other fucking countries who were favorites in a World Cup prior. We haven't done anything different. Nothing new. We didn't beat Brazil. We didn't beat Argentina. We didn't beat anybody of any significance in that fucking World Cup. And that didn't change a goddamn lick of how the rest of the world views us. They're changing their view of American players specifically because how they're performing in Europe and in their clubs. Greg had dick to do with that. Zero, Greg. Zero.
I will say that when it comes to Dest, it is possible his performances with the United States national team helped him secure a loan to PSV. Now, of course, PSV knows who Dest is. Obviously, they played a number of years against him. But it certainly wasn't his time at Barcelona. It certainly wasn't his time at AC Milan. That warranted the possible loan with a potential, whatever, $8 million buyout or whatever, or purchase or whatever. I'm sure his performances with the national team, because when he plays for the U.S., he showed up most games, and he put on a clinic. I think his Holland game was one of his better games in the World Cup.
It was.
So
it's
possible between that and, as BMR says here with Ernie Stewart, it's possible that definitely helps too.
No, BMR nails it. That's the number one fucking reason there are 3 Americans at PSV right now. And that is Ernie fucking Stewart, right? Not that Ernie's middle name is fucking.
Could be.
You get the
we
point.
don't know that.
Yes, we don't. All right. This is a little more finish up here, I think.
This is how we did it, guys. We won Nations League. We won Gold Cup. We won Nations League. We qualified for the World Cup.
Nobody in the world cares about that shit, Greg. Nobody cares about Nations League and Gold Cup. Nobody in Europe gives a fuck about those trophies. And you're kidding yourself if you think they do. They do not. They do not care. Those are meaningless trophies to the rest of the world, especially in Europe, which is what we're really talking about when we're talking about changing the way the rest of the world views American soccer. This guy just sits around and figures out way to bullshit his way through this leadership thing. Nobody respects a guy that's full of shit. And this guy's full of shit because we didn't. And you didn't, Greg. You didn't change shit. Canada cares about what, Larry?
Nations League, Gold Cup, Nations League, qualifying for the World Cup.
Canada already respects us because they've been losing to us for years. That's not the world. Canada barely qualifies as being part of the world.
We're going to change the way that CONCACAF views American soccer.
We've already done that.
7 straight World Cups is probably the indication for that. Let's expand our view.
Yeah,
that's just what Greg was trying to do when he won the Nations League and the Gold Cup, and his assistants also won the Nations League. And did a decent job with the Gold Cup with a C
yeah, right. I mean, I'm watching this in disbelief because I think the players would be. I mean, the players should feel hard done because they're the ones that have done the work to change the view of how the rest of the world, especially Europe, which we're really talking about here, views American soccer players. They've done the hard work. They've been the ones that put in the work at their clubs to change that viewpoint.
Yeah.
And it's not even changed all the way yet. All right. We still got a long ways to go. We didn't accomplish that, Greg, at the World Cup, you fuckface. I can't even believe I'm watching this. I really can't.
Derek, is it possible that it wasn't his time at Fulham and being successful that warranted the rumors about Pep scouting out Jedi? And it was, in fact, his performance at the World Cup and the Nations League and the Gold Cups.
Well, that's all bullshit, right? So, Man City were never going to sign Jedi. But, I mean, he did say nice things about Ream, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, if that guy were 20 years younger, he'd be playing for my team.
Yeah, 20 years younger, like what, 16?
But I hate to tell Pep this, but 20 years younger, Ream wasn't this good.
Ream was still in high school. He wasn't even playing a professional 20 years younger.
Okay, I think he said 10 years younger.
There you go.
Okay, yeah. So, I hate to tell him this, but even at 27 or 25, I can't remember how old Ream is, 34? So he's been 24. Tim Ream wasn't ready to play for Man City at 24. Tim Ream magically was a late bloomer about 3 years ago. He bloomed, right, when they got out of championship and had this great season last season. So he's into year 3 of his blossoming. Mm-hmm. All right. So just to be clear about that. All right, let's finish this. Let's play the rest of this jackassery just because of how horrible and horrific it is.
That's how we did it, guys.
This is how we did it.
We have a different opportunity to do something that will be around forever. This is our new focus, guys. All right, here we go, boys.
What the fuck does that even mean, you cocksucker? You didn't even lay out, give us some bullet points of how you're going to accomplish that. Like, I guarantee you there were no bullet points for the first one either. This is just jackassery. This is guy who thinks he has a magic wand. This isn't leadership. Leaders don't do this. Even mission statements have to be able to be measured. We can't measure what we did in the World Cup and how it changed anything. I haven't seen anybody take a poll. Have you seen anybody take a poll of fucking coaches in fucking Europe and how their views of American soccer were changed by Gregg's performance in the World Cup and the players in Gregg's? I would love to see a poll because you can't prove it, Gregg. That's why I don't like people that live in fucking Disneyland. This motherfucker lives in Disneyland, his own fucking Disneyland. It's pathetic. I'm sorry. This isn't inspiring to me. And most of the players go back to their fucking hotel rooms and laugh about this jackassery afterwards. I'm guarantee it.
What about the cycle? To your point, as far as not laying out any form of steps here, I mean, maybe he does, and we're just not privy to it, of course.
I don't think so.
But I mean, what about the cycle is going to change soccer in America forever? Is it the fact that we can play in the Copa?
Yeah.
No, we've done that before. Is it the fact that we're hosting a World Cup? Yeah, we've done that before.
Right.
It's definitely not Nations League. It's definitely not Gold Cup, as he just proved.
And the word change is so gigantic. It could mean anything. So McKennie changes the way it changes soccer in America forever because at halftime of the next game versus Germany, he fucking fucks Pulisic's sister in the middle of the goddamn field at halftime in front of the whole crowd. It changes soccer in America forever. You can change soccer in America in all kinds of ways.
Start selling out a lot more football stadiums. Like, holy shit, we get a show at halftime? Nice.
Every player is allowed to bring a dog with them onto the field. That changes soccer in America forever, right? Right?
Sure.
It would.
Definitely makes it cuter.
it cuter. Now they got to stay on the sidelines during the game, but instead of the kids, like they walk out with the kids, they walk out with dogs dressed.
There's a lot of players slipping on dog shit in the field. Oh, son of a bitch.
I tell you what changed soccer in America forever. This motherfucker got fired and somebody else got hired. That would change soccer in America. At least change being, a infinite amount of different things changes everything. Throw a fucking pebble in a pond, you fuckface. This is ridiculous, Brett. This guy's just full of shit. He's a goddamn sack of shit, just full of shit.
Speaking of change, did you see the new Paramount episode with Matt Turner?
No, but I saw parts of it.
So there's a part where he's talking about they were talking about Gio, and they had mentioned, he goes, it was always a part of the process. It wasn't just Gio's never played at the 10 before that. It was all part of the process to get him to that point. I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Yeah.
And basically making it sound like, Hudson and BJ were just continuing what Gregg was on par to do.
Yes.
Which is the part of the plan was to do that, right?
Lies.
And I'm just like, no, I didn't see anything of that. Quite frankly, the only time we saw him anywhere near the center is when you had to sub out a striker who was ineffective, and you didn't want to take out Pulisic or Weah, so you just threw him as a false 9, which kind of played that kind of a role. So
yeah, it's lies. It's lies, dude. It's lies. That is not how it was worked. Those guys took steps independent from Gregg, all right, to make that evolution happen. And that's one of the reasons Gregg now has to at least look in the mirror and say, oh, shit, yeah.
And I'll say the interview with Turner, at least when they were talking about the American side of the World Cup and stuff like that, very political in what he said. I think one of the quotes that everybody was latching on to was that, Gregg was rehired, and turns out people still want to play for him. Well, that's a no shit comment, but
no fucking shit. They have no choice, you dumbass. Sorry, Matt.
But yeah, no. Like I said, I thought it was a very PC comment to make to get through it. There's some fun topics in there.
They talk about Donovan's goal and how that was an inspiration for Matt Turner to become a goalie, and I
didn't catch that part, but
yeah, and that was with Dempsey in the interview. So yeah, I saw parts of it. I didn't see it all, but yeah. But this just needs to be stopped. Okay, I can just imagine if Bruce Arena were in the back row, he'd be giggling his ass off, going, "This is the biggest cockamamie bullshit I've ever fucking heard," and he'd be back there going like this, "Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit." And that's the other thing. When you talk about man management with Gregg, half the players, so we've heard, would describe it as weird. Weird. He's a weird dude. So we're going to let you know that's what we hear. All right. And listen, he is a weird dude. Just look at him in interviews, which we're about to cover now before we get to the roster. And we might as well start at 40 seconds from this one. Just a weird fucking dude. This dude's so fucking weird. There we go. Close enough.
Thanks, Michael. And hey, Gregg, appreciate your time. I guess to start, what can you tell us about your conversations with Gio over the past few weeks or maybe over a month? And just where things stand with your relationship with him right now.
Right out of the gate. I'm glad that the media, and I'm assuming that they all had these questions and they all wanted to ask about Gio and Gregg, because that's the big topic, really.
Yep.
I'm glad that they jumped right into it.
Yeah, no, this is good.
Super fluff there. He's just like, hey, how'd your conversation with Gio go? And what did you guys talk about?
They're all really respectful. And I will say this, compare this media to mainstream media, this is better than you're going to get because everybody's got their fucking, pearls to clutch in the media these days. But these guys are grunts, and they want to get some info out of Gregg, and they're going to try to pull it out of him in the most gentle fashion they can, i.e., but still get their question in. And this is pretty good. I can't complain.
Let's see what he says.
It was, first of all, the conversation was positive conversation. Appreciative of him taking time and being able to connect. And really, for us, it's about
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon.
All right, 1 second, and there we go.
Aligning on how we're moving forward, and I think we did that. The exact contents of the conversation, I'm going to leave private, but we're in a good spot.
At least until he's at a leadership conference, right?
Yeah, well, no more of those immoral leadership conferences. I hope
that might be the last joke of that I make. Let's give him a little credit. He finally reached out to him.
He did.
And I don't know if we're going to cover this exact quote he does, but he does mention that this was about 3 weeks ago.
Yes, weeks ago, he says.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To prepare for this camp and to really, in my opinion, treating this very similar to how we did with Ballo in last camp, is build him up, build his minutes up, that he goes back to Dortmund in a better place, and using him on the field in a way that he can return to Dortmund ready to go. So that's going to be important for this camp.
Okay. I mean, that's really general. I know he can't give us any more than that, but he's comparing him to Ballo there, which is like what you said before in pre-show.
Yeah.
That he's going to get like a half
that's
year
what,
and a half there.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me too.
You put him in the first half. You let him play his 45 minutes. You bring somebody else in at that point.
Yank him. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Keep going, because what are we at right now? 142.
142.
Okay, the next one's 205.
For club or country since June. Thanks again.
It was a Zoom conversation. And again, for us, our objectives in this camp is very similar to Ballo in last camp, is how many minutes can we give him on the field that, he can build up in a safe way and then go back to Dortmund and really, propel him to make a big impact for his club.
That's very weird, Brett. Like a safe way. Like, I guess for Balogun, no more than 45 minutes anymore would be considered unsafe. But as we all know, injuries can happen in the first 45 or the second 45. It's like injuries are random. They don't, unless we're talking about muscle injuries, maybe that's what the concern is. Because, the more you play, there is a bigger possibility of like pulling a hammy, straining with less oxygen or less, a freshness in the second half, and like really stretching yourself when you're not fresh anymore can cause muscle injuries. So maybe that's what he's talking about here. I don't know.
I gotta say, this is comparison is going to be apples to oranges, of course. But speaking of myself and not having played for a while, I went out and did a father versus son game on our last practice, basically adults versus kids, and played the entire game. I'm sure it was like 15 minutes at most. And I left him like, oh, it was good times, guys. Oh my God. Yeah. And then I was like out for like an entire week. Like just like body was just like, nope, you're not gonna do that. So he hasn't played since the Canada game.
Yeah.
He's had a couple weeks of practices and sitting on the bench.
Right.
So having him go out there for a bit minutes, whether it's a half, whether it's for the final 20 minutes of each game or whatever.
Sounds like a half.
I'm sure it's to mitigate the possibility of re-agitating anything, and to just give him some minutes, get him fresh. Hopefully he has a standout performance and he goes back to Dortmund, and then Dortmund's like, oh shit, we better play him for at least 7 minutes a game. Come the winter when we aim to sell him, wouldn't it be better if we actually had some performances that we can say, hey, don't you want this guy? He's going to be like 20 million. Give me 20 million.
Unless Berhalter has had some discussions with Terzic that we don't know about, it doesn't really look like that he has, Terzic, that is, any inclination to play Reyna anytime ever soon. I mean, I just don't. I mean, it would take probably a phone call from the head office to say, hey, play this motherfucker. We plan to sell him. And if you don't play him, we can't sell him at the price we would usually have gotten a year or 2 years ago. So
if he's going the same trajectory now, somebody's going to get him for a steal.
Yeah.
Hands down. Somebody's going to get him pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
And now if he plays some time at Dortmund, he gets some minutes, he starts getting some assists, some goals or whatever that we saw from last season, then all of a sudden your asking price goes back up.
Right.
You can't just rely on his international performances, which are going to be few and far between now. I mean, you've only got 2 more months up until the window opens up, more or less.
December.
About 3 months about.
Yeah.
So it's a stupid ploy unless they are in fact hoping to keep him and then re-sign him or something like that. But
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that Terzic is like really worried about him getting re-injured still, that he's not really 100% ready to go back on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I wish he would say that then, because he's dressing now and he's
that's the thing.
Sitting the pine.
If you're concerned about him going on there for 5-10 minutes a game or whatever, which he should be getting if you have intentions to actually use the guy at some point. But if you're concerned about the 5 or 10 minutes, don't dress him for the 18. Don't even have him on the roster. Make sure he's fully recovered. This is what started the whole running gag of the medical staff at Dortmund that we got. Some people didn't quite catch when we talked about it. But it's just like, why is he in the game day 18 if he's not ready to come off the bench?
And here's a guy who got you a bunch of last-minute goals last season and saved your ass on many occasions, right?
Nearly won them the title.
Right, winning games, coming in for 10 minutes and doing something spectacular. And here you are playing against AC Milan and Dest and, Pulisic and Musa. And here you are in the Champions League. You're tied 1-1. Unless Terzic just is like, well, fuck it, I'll take a tie. But they really needed a win. They want to continue to be competitive in this tournament. And they put everybody but Reyna in. They used 4 out of 5 subs. And I thought, okay, there's one more left. Maybe we'll put him in for 5 minutes. Nope. Didn't see the field.
And they played 5 other subs. So clearly it wasn't I can't utilize. It's not player management issue here. Oh, it's player management with him at least. But he's still using his subs. It's just whatever,
Yeah. Didn't pick Pulisic. Reyna. Yeah.
So I don't know if this is going to come up later. When they start talking about all the players that weren't included, he brings up Brooks. He brings up.
We'll get to that.
I was so expecting him to say Long as well.
He didn't. Thank God.
He didn't.
He's learned. He's learned a little. Little, not much, but a little. All right, let's keep going here.
Be creative with the minutes. We want to certainly get him on the field, and work through both the Germany game and seeing what position he plays, and then in the Ghana game, same thing, seeing how we can get him in different positions throughout the camp on the field.
All right, that sounds like he's going to play multiple positions. Like they're going to stick with a 4-3-3 and try him out as an 8. Or move him out wide at halftime or whatever and play winger. I'm not getting a guarantee here that we're from this particular quote, we're going to get to see a 4-2-3-1 with him playing behind a striker. But then he changes that later. So
it sounds like to me, and he's listed as a midfielder, although we know that the photo that U.S. Soccer provided does not provide the accurate positions for players.
Right.
But he is listed as a midfielder. So, the big question is he going to be utilized in one match as more of a 10, maybe comes in late as more of a 10 option?
Yeah.
Or is he going to be playing this whole BJ, put some defensive responsibilities in there so you can get more of the ball as more of a maybe an offensive 8, if you will.
Yeah.
Or are we going to see him out wide again? Because, that was Berhalter tried and true,
Well, he talks about that. So we can move to 305. We're pretty close to being there already. Yeah, that'll work.
But this is not a simple coach-player situation. You obviously have a long history with Gio and his family. Are there still things you need to move past?
So yeah, basically sticking with the whole Gio call and says, hey, this is a complicated issue. Are there still things you and Gio need to hash out?
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I know what he's going to say because I watched it as well. But I mean, at this point, I think both of them just kind of want to move on from the situation, continue playing.
Yeah.
They're not going to be the besties that they were at one point in life.
Right.
But they got to be professional and they got to move on. And unfortunately, though, Gregg will not be able to coach him during the window via Zoom. At some point, he will have to, shake his hand, smack his ass, the usual.
Well, and Gregg says that right here. Yep.
Well, I'd say that, the conversation was positive. I was really just appreciative of the conversation. And having said that, acknowledging that I think it will take time. It's a difference between a Zoom call and being in person, but I think that both intentions are positive. And the idea is that, we work together for the team to be successful. And I think we're both prepared to do that. So, I think that although
basically, yeah. And I'm pretty sure he's going to go into it right now, basically saying how, we're not going to be quite the same way it was or whatever. But
well, this is what we've been saying for some time.
Yeah.
So it's good to see it happening. This is going to be a professional relationship. They're not going to, be giving each other reach arounds or going to Thanksgiving parties together.
Unless one of them pays for it, right?
You mean Thanksgiving or the reach around?
The reach around, of course.
Because turkeys are expensive.
Nah.
No,
I mean, have to give them the right time of year.
Not after Thanksgiving, they're not. But yeah.
No, all November and December they're dirt cheap.
Okay, that's what I said. After Thanksgiving, I thought.
Not after. No, all of November.
Well, you would know.
You've
got like 8 of them in your fucking freezer.
Nah, I'm down to my last one still. I
need
to pull
your last one.
I need to pull that out soon and start thawing it out and cook it.
Jesus Christ, we're almost there for November, Brett.
I
So
know.
you bought the exact number of turkeys you needed to get through a year.
No. There's times where I go a whole month without a turkey.
Oh, what's without a turkey? All right. Well.
No, I can't fit 12 turkeys in that freezer. There's no chance in hell.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of turkeys.
That's a lot of turkeys.
You should
Even
try.
I can't eat that much turkey.
You should try Cornish hens. They're smaller.
Pricier too.
That's true, but smaller.
All right, where are we going?
We didn't finish this one, did we?
No, we didn't.
It may take some time. We're both aligned with what we want to accomplish.
Oh, okay. 2 seconds.
All right, 4:15 when this commercial ends. Don't do this.
I kind of want to watch what happens here.
What's he waving around? A pillow? A pillow?
Yeah.
That seems like a bad idea.
Yes. Put water into it. Grease fire.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's an expensive fix.
Yep.
This blanket, this fire retardant blanket.
And this 4:15 gets into how they're gonna play, how they're gonna set up.
Next to be Paul.
4:15. There we go.
Go about replacing him. We're trying to find ways to play without him. And how much does Gio's role and ability to play minutes impact that and kind of how you think about the way the midfield is organized, whether it's Eunice dropping deeper because someone like Gio plays in a more attacking role or kind of a like for like and keeping Eunice and Weston in the roles that they typically play. Thank you.
Yeah, you saw Eunice yesterday playing a little bit deeper, especially later in the game for Milan in the Champions League.
He did. Yep.
So, I mean, that kind of a comment right there makes it kind of sound like he may be okay with a more offensive-minded 8 to sit alongside with Musa and McKinney. Whether it be a Tillman or a Reyna.
I think here he's just indicating that he's all right with Musa playing the 6.
Yeah.
Which is what he kind of dropped into for AC Milan in the last game, late in the game.
It's also what Berhalter did against Oman.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Tessman didn't do himself any favors in that Uzbekistan game. And Luka got
hurt.
Plastic surgery, reconstruction of his nose.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's certainly doing that now with his club. But for me, it's I think the first thing to acknowledge is, all of us, the staff, the players, feel really, really bad for Tyler because he's working so hard to get back and had a setback and won't be involved in this camp. So we're thinking about Tyler. He means a tremendous amount to this team, both on and off the field. That's the first thing. And the second thing, it gives us an opportunity to have, a plan B when and if Tyler isn't available. And we'll work through this, whether that's with Eunice and Weston playing a little deeper and then with an attacking midfielder, or whether it's with the traditional single pivot and 2 attacking midfielders. So
I don't know what's so traditional about that, but okay.
It's his
tradition for certain.
Yeah.
But
it's traditional for the United States to play that single pivot, Derek. And the history of the United States started when Berhalter took over.
I think so.
There was no history prior to that.
So, I mean, you could take the diamond, right? The 4-1-2, whatever that we used to play.
4-1-2-1-2?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that was sort of a singular pivot. But, it's great just to hear him talk about McKennie and Musa playing a double pivot, because that does give Reyna or Tillman, whoever he ends up playing, probably one for one half and one for the other, that opportunity to be free and create. For Balogun, who we mentioned later, is not getting the 3 passes he deserves. And if you have a creating CAM, it does give you the opportunity to do that. You are, however, playing 2 very good teams. So that's another thing to consider when you're setting up formation-wide against Germany and Ghana. But I'd like to see him try it, because I really don't think that a 4-2-3-1 is necessarily a defensive deficit if played the proper way with wingers who are willing to drop back and play defense and hit on the counter. But we know Gregg doesn't like to play like that. He doesn't like to play counter ball. He likes to have all the possession and kick it around and go around the horseshoe 35 times and nothing happens. So
you think against Germany, well, I mean, I guess Luke is back and all, but do you think against somebody like Germany, we might see somebody along the lines of like a Maloney, who, obviously grew up and played in Germany's system?
No, I don't think so. I think Maloney's going to be like a second half guy that gets 10 minutes, depending on what happens.
Yeah.
I think he's just here to kind of get integrated, and you know how difficult that is, right?
Yeah.
So
you
says
need,
William.
you need 3 cams for that.
So says Williamson. So says the flock.
It's going to give us a lot of information, and really testing it against high-level opponents is going to be fun. So, or again, we have other midfielders. You look at a guy like Malik Tillman, who's playing with PSV, doing really well. He can be in that attacking role.
Well.
Gio can be in that attacking role. Luka can play, as one of the center midfielders. So there are options, and it's just about working through it.
I mean, these are all amazing things and problems to have. I mean, honestly, Luka has been great for Celta. That red card he got, total horse shit. So, but the next one is at the 7-minute mark. Injuries. McKenzie, ?
Dated press.
Hey, Greg. A couple of questions. First, what is the nature of McKenzie's injury, and what went into Anthony Robinson leaving him off here? And lastly, Gio, when did that conversation between you and him take place?
Weeks ago is the answer to that. Mark McKenzie had a broken toe.
Stop right there. Mark McKenzie played today all 90 minutes. All fucking 90 minutes for Genk. All fucking 90 minutes for Genk in their win in the Europa, whatever jack-off league that was that they played in. I think it was Europa.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't conference, I don't think. Maybe it was conference. I lose track of the lower bullshit leagues that don't matter. The only one I care about is Champions League. I will watch the other games if Americans are playing in it, but those are jack-off. Those are jack-off fucking leagues. They don't matter. The fact that there's 3 layers of them is ridiculous. But, okay, fine. Chris Gary, I find it very interesting that Mark McKenzie with a broken toe Yet he's playing for Genk. I always thought there was something off between Gregg and him. Apart from that, it's a great roster, almost flawless. Wish we had that bald German-American CB, but maybe next time. I don't think that's happening anytime, Chris. That'd be nice, but no, it's not going to happen. And he explains that later. And we'll get to that. But yeah, this dude played with a broken toe. Well, no, Gregg did say in his answer he had a broken toe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but he had a broken toe. He's still good enough to start for Genk and go 90 minutes and a win in the Europa Clown League, but he's not good enough to come to camp. So don't say that. Don't say it. Just say it was a really tough decision. We have a lot of depth at that position. So this is what we're going to go with here. That doesn't count out Mark for future games. Don't go with the toe. Yeah. The toe's fine.
And then I think that does come up later. He talks about somebody brings up the whole depth question.
Yeah, I got it, Mark.
Center back, etc. So we'll definitely go over that too. But yeah, you're right. Why even come up with the excuse? I mean, yes, he might have in fact had a broken toe, but I mean, if he's playing for Genk at this point, then just say, hey, we're going with this option. I want to gauge these guys as we move on into the limited windows we have, and the door is still open for McKenzie, especially if he's having a great, great season with his club. Just keep it simple. You don't have to come up with an excuse. You don't need an excuse.
It ain't the toe, bro. The toe is fine. It's obvious it's fine. He just played fucking 90 minutes. Don't bring up the toe. Let the toe go. Fucking just say it's tough decision. I had to pick 4 or 5 guys and he didn't fucking make the goddamn group. Don't use the toe as an excuse because now McKenzie just played 90 minutes on the day you had this goddamn cup and he's fine. He's absolutely fine. And now everybody's going to pick on you for being a fucking trickster. And this is the problem with Berhalter. He tries to slide in tricky shit when he doesn't need to because the tricky shit's going to make you look like an asshole. Mm-hmm. Now you look like an asshole by saying he can't come because he had a broken toe. He had a broken toe. That toe's obviously fixed because he just fucking played 90 minutes. Dumbass. Don't bring it up in the interview. And if I were advising him as his media dude, I would say, this is the kind of bullshit you need to cut out. Just say he didn't make the team because it's a really competitive situation. And right now, these are the guys I want to see play for me.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
And again, he does that, and you said you had the timestamp. He does that later. Yep. He talks about it's a difficult decision, especially at center back, because there's a lot of options, and there are a lot of options, especially when everybody's healthy. CCV just got back from being injured, and he's called in. Just simply say, hey, we saw McKenzie last window. I want CCV in here this window, and move on with life.
Yes,
that's all you have to do.
When you lead with bullshit, you diminish your believability. You diminish your believability. Mm-hmm. You diminish the people that the people think you're an authentic person. He could have said, well, listen, he had a toe injury. It looks like it's healed now. So we're going to let him go back and play for Genk. Well, now that the toe's healed. But right now, these are the players I want to see. That doesn't count Mark out for the future. But don't start with the toe, bro. You dumbass. Jesus.
Well, that was the same issue going into, was it the World Cup where he mentioned he had like a back injury, but then he literally played?
Yes.
Like
Brooks.
Immediately afterwards?
Yes.
No, it wasn't even Brooks. I'm sorry. McKenzie had something. Maybe it was
McKenzie
at the very end of the season.
Brooks. Both used the back injury thing.
So that's basically, I know that's, I think that's why Chris had made that comment. He's like, yeah, I feel like there's always something fishy about McKenzie and Berhalter.
Yeah. Don't feed us fishy shit. Because we're watching, Gregg, and we're following the players, and we know the players, and we know their circumstances. You can't lie to us. You can't make up tricky bullshit because we'll catch you on the bullshit. This is another case of us catching you in bullshit. And this is why you're not believable on an average basis. Like, I can't believe what you're saying because this is an outright bullshit excuse. And catches himself, by the way, if you rewind it. He says he has a broken toe. He had a broken toe. He had to fucking fix it.
And the thing is that obviously these statements will get glossed over. They'll get put into articles, and the vast majority of people who don't necessarily follow McKenzie's career or follow what's happening will simply go, "Oh, okay, he's out with a broken toe. He's injured." Okay,
yeah, but he's not. Yeah, exactly.
But that's
right.
the thing. The vast majority of people won't care.
You're right. Yep. And this is misinformation. I hate using that word. No, this is just lying. This is just fucking lying.
Fake news.
Yeah, fake news. All right, we can keep playing it though because he says some other
To
shit.
be back shortly on the field. And then with Anthony,
really shortly, he played
was
today.
He's dealing with this pubalgia, infamous, sort of like the onset of a sports hernia type of.
Do you think he had a practice before this? Like, it's this and this. It's infamous, blah 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 blah. You know.
Well, the pubalgia thing. I mean, when you hear that word, you think it's like a massive, fucking grotesque growth on your nutsack and balls. And your fucking cock, right? Because that's a horrible word. But, you know, we've known for some time that Jedi has had this hernia, this sports hernia issue. And actually, Adams had it when he's at Leipzig.
And Jedi didn't even play against Oman because of it.
Yeah, it's the most unpredictable injury, and you almost never know when it's fully healed. It's a complete bitch of an injury. And I hate to hear that that's what Jedi has. Because you can play with it, right? That's the worst thing. You can play with it, but it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So this is a smart decision by Gregg to say, we're just going to give fucking Jedi 2 weeks to sit on his ass and get this shit healed because it does take time. That's the whole thing about this thing. This injury then can actually get really bad if you don't give it time to heal. And then Jedi's been playing this game with it, where he's like, it's mostly healed. It's at 80. It's at 90. I'm going to play. Oh, shit. Now I'm back to 70. Now I can't play. Oh, now it's you can't do that. You at some point, if you're Jedi, you just need to sit down and give it a month and just try to make sure it's healed.
I mean, this would be the time to do it, quite frankly. You're already taking 2 weeks out where there are no games. You might as well just take a couple extra weeks off and just let it recover.
Yep. I agree.
Thing, and he got injections before last camp, before last national team break, and he's still struggling that a little bit, and we want to get ahead of it. You know, when I'm looking towards Nations League, when we're looking towards the winter period in England, they don't have a break. You know, I think this was an opportunity where he needs to cool this down because he does have inflammation in that area, and he's in some pain. So we want to resolve that as quickly as possible because he's a big part of what we're doing.
He is. 823 Brooks gets mentioned.
And with Mark McKenzie's injury, looking at the four center backs in this group.
No Mark McKenzie
with
injury.
Cameron Carter-Vickers back. That could easily be a top four for this program for a while. The depth chart obviously goes way beyond four, but how do you sort of set things at the moment?
Yeah, you know, that's a good question, Jonathan. And as our player pool grows, our talent pool grows, there's always going to be players that are not selected that are good enough. And that's part of it. That's where decisions get very difficult. And I'll reference the center back position as one of them. I mean, think about, you know, Walker's not on the roster here.
Oh, don't even.
He's dealing with a little bit of Achilles pain. Mark McKenzie's not on the roster. Austin Trusty's playing in the Premier League. He's not on the roster. John Brooks is playing in the Bundesliga. He's not on the roster. So you have four guys that could easily make the case to be on the roster that aren't on it.
Yeah, but we know why. We know why John Brooks isn't here because nobody that he's mentioned, and nobody that's made this team outside of Ream, has more experience and has played more games leading up to this than Brooks and Ream. Those two guys are regulars in the best leagues. Richards barely plays. CCV's been injured, hasn't played except for the last game for Celtic, where he came off the bench, and they lost. And then Miles Robinson, I'm not even sure why he's on the team. I mean, based on what's available. Maybe speed seems a little slower than he was.
Well,
after the injury.
Yeah, and I know that he's was a big part last cycle and everything like that. But we have some MLS upcoming camps. You know, we got Camp Cupcake coming, and like I said, I know that there are no MLS games during this time period either, but we're down to like the final 2 games of the season. I almost would have preferred to have seen somebody like Trusty. Well, I know Brooks is out of the equation, so I'm not even bring him up here. But I would have almost rather have seen somebody like Trusty or even EPB brought in. I know EPB is not even playing in the Greek league, so I mean that's troubling in its own right too.
No, he didn't dress today either.
So
yeah,
I mean, going to the Greek league, man, it just doesn't work out for any of our guys.
He'd be injured. Yeah, no, he might be injured though.
It's possible. We didn't even mention EPB, so who knows?
No, I mean they played today and he didn't play. He wasn't even in the 18. So I think he's injured. Trusty not playing obviously because I mean Sheffield United they're a fucking joke of a team. And you would think eventually they're going to have to try somebody else out. So he probably will get playing time, just not getting much now. Sure. So I'm not bitching about the 4 that were picked. Miles Robinson is fine. You have to ask yourself, where would Miles Robinson fit in England, for instance? He'd be a championship center back. I mean, I don't think he is a Premier League center back. I just don't. He would need to prove it to me because it's hard for me to tell from where he's playing right now and the mistakes he sometimes makes in MLS that he is a Premier League quality center back. He's a championship quality center back, as Trusty was, as EPB was in France at a horrible team. I think he could play in France. I think he'd play in Ligue 1 for like Toulouse or, pick a fucking random bottom half of the table team in France. I think he could do that, Miles Robinson. But he ain't going to any big team in England, Premier League team, and starting immediately. There's no way that's happening, which is why I think Brooks, I'm fine with Berhalter at least saying and mentioning Brooks and saying there's great guys out there. But the difference between the 3 guys he mentioned before he mentioned Brooks is Brooks, outside of the last game where he had a bad game, has been very good for Hoffenheim. Saved them, kept them up last season, and has been a stalwart for them this season. Outside of 1 game, he had a horrible game. 1 game had a horrible game. So, it's like comparing apples to oranges for me. So I would have liked more explanation, but as you said before the show, nobody followed that up with but wait. There's a little difference here because the guys you mentioned don't play, or they don't play much, or they don't play well.
Or plays in a significantly lesser league.
Right. But Brooks is playing in one of the top 3 leagues in the world. And he starts, and he's a leader on the team. He's a leader of the back, and he still got beat out by Miles Robinson. Okay, I mean, that's stretching the question. I get it. You don't want to get in bad with Gregg, but at least Gregg addressed it, and at least Gregg brought it up.
Yeah, I mean it wouldn't be a horrible question, and it wouldn't be a uncouth, if you will, to simply say, hey, Brooks has been back in the Bundesliga for almost a year now. He's been playing incredibly well. What is he going to have to do in order to earn a call-up?
Right, and if you're Berhalter and you're sharp, and you got your media guy working with you and letting you know that this question might be coming and that you need to address it and have a good excuse, he would have said, well, right now, Tim Ream brings us what we need from a left-footed leader of the back 4. So I see Ream and Brooks as being the same player. And right now we're leading with Ream because he's having a great year and a half with Fulham. He's been a great leader for this team. So right now we're going to go with Ream. That might change through injuries, through time, we don't know. But right now, Ream is an important part of this team, and he plays the role that Brooks would play. So Brooks is sort of extra right now for us. Now, I don't think saying that would hurt Brooks' feelings. I think it might make him feel better, right? Like, okay, I get it. Like, me and Reem are the same guy. We do kind of the same thing. We're left-footed, good passers out of the back. We don't need an You couldn't play Brooks and Reem together. You could. I mean, we've had people point out, oh, yeah, you can play left-footed, center backs in both center back positions. Hey, this ain't an AYSO, motherfucker. I get it, but it's not traditional. It's not what normally happens. Let's be honest. Look at any fucking lineup in the world.
Why not let the 37,000-year-old Reem take one window off and recover since he's playing at a high level and
with a broken arm?
Bring in the 26. Yeah, he's got a broken arm. Bring in the 2,600-year-old John Brooks in to fill that role a window. Give him a nod. Why not give him a nod?
And just stay in touch with the team. Reacclimate to the team.
It's been a moment.
Sit down and have tea in the morning with Berhalter and make up, pat each other's cocks, whatever needs to be done to make this whole thing up, to get over it, to mend the bridges that happened in Honduras halftime. Yeah, we know it was bad. We know Brooks blew up. We know shit was tossed. It happens. But you know what? That's a passionate player who wants to play. That's why he's pissed. Yeah, he knows he made a mistake in that game, and he wants to make up for it, but you never gave him a chance after that. So that's the last we're going to remember of John Brooks. And that's too bad for John Brooks. And that's all I got, except for 11:35. He talks about Maloney.
Real quick, Ken P says, we're shitty on set pieces, so why do we need Brooks? Well, if we're going to be playing Reyna as a 8/10,
he'll play.
Then he'll be the one lacing those kicks.
Not exactly, Brett.
Pulisic.
Pulisic, actually, his set pieces for AC Milan this week were not bad. They were better.
That is funny. He has got AC Milan. All of a sudden, he's become an adequate set piece taker.
Adequate would be a good word, but he's absolutely fucking horrid for us. He cannot fucking take a set piece to save his life for the United States men's national team. But when Reyna comes back and he is playing, Reyna will be taking the set pieces, which makes somebody like Brooks absolutely important because Brooks scores more goals than Reem does on fucking set pieces. Just look it up.
Do you think the issue with Pulisic with the United States national team happens to come down to our set piece the guy who runs our we have a designated guy who is a set piece coach.
It's an assistant coach. One of the assistants does.
Do you think the problem is that, like, hey, we're going to continue running this near post shit?
Are they running near post shit, or Pulisic cannot get the ball over the first guy's head?
He does it fine at AC Milan, but then does it consistently horrible when he's with the United States national team. That makes me think that this is kind of a plan, and it's just not working out.
As a striker, what the near post job is, right? And that's to clip it in to the middle. And it doesn't work, but we do it all. If that's what we're doing, we're just really horrible at doing it. I would suggest that half of the time, Pulisic, that is not the plan, and Pulisic is just short.
Well, and what's funny is that Juventus, unlike Leeds, has actually been putting Weston in the box during set pieces and corners. And they actually have a play that they've run. He's gotten I don't know if it would be an assist. I mean, he's done where Weston would run near post, slip it in, and there's usually a little clusterfuck of bounces around, and then so he puts it away. But it all stemmed off of him doing the slip and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can do that for club and Pulisic can do it for club, why can't we duplicate that at the national team level?
I think because that's not what we're running. I think most of the time what I'm seeing is a back post run or a mid run, a direct run through the middle, and the ball never gets there. Yeah. So that's on Pulisic, and hopefully he's getting better. Obviously, he's practicing it a lot because otherwise he wouldn't be taking those for AC Milan.
I'm kind of surprised he is, to tell you the truth.
And they're not that bad with AC Milan. They're a lot better than U.S. men's national team ones. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to determine what the problem is. Is it the play call with the U.S. men's national team, or is he just really bad when it comes to taking corners for us and set pieces? I'm not even corners, just set pieces in general. He's shitty. So
For
I
us,
think think he chokes a little. I don't know. You think he choked for AC Milan more because that seems like a big time team, a lot of pressure. But
lacing those balls in against the top tier of Italian soccer and who they bring in internationally is so much easier than doing it against the El Salvadors and the Honduras of the world.
Right. All right. Let's finish this up with Maloney.
You said it was 11 what?
11:35. We talk about Maloney.
You know, a lot of people think that in order to conceal carry, you're going to need a tactical belt and a
even flow.
That
was about Lennard.
Oh yeah. So with Lenny,
Lenny,
first of all, the most distance covered in the Bundesliga.
He's already got a
as
nickname
a central
for him.
midfield, defensive midfielder.
He's
But
got
to
those
me,
numbers from
what
the
really
turn.
attracted the staff to him is how he Liga
Go
as a
back.
central midfield, defensive midfielder. But to me, what really attracted the staff to him is how he plays the game with really a lot of emotion, with a lot of passion. You see him clapping for his teammates. You see him going into the tackles. A really committed player, really team oriented player, and we're excited to have him into camp and see what he can do.
All right, good. That's fine. I don't know. I don't know about some of that, but that's mostly good. The clapping is good, I guess. It's clapping's
That's
good.
what a silly thing to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hear that, and all I hear is he works hard, and he goes hard in on tackles.
Yeah, he's we talked about this in the prior show. He's a destroyer. He's Adams, but he's not as fast. He's more physical than Adams. I will say that. He's a more physical, he's a bigger guy. He's not as fast, he's not as quick, but his instincts are really good, just like Adams. So in that way, he's just a bigger, badder ass Adams that's not as fast as Adams. So this is a good time to bring him in. Good time.
Yeah, I agree, and I appreciate the call. We even talked about whether or not and I had the whole segment last show where I brought it up, and I was like, I got called out because I said, well, he warrants to be part of the conversation. And
somebody called you out for that?
We had an entire segment, and I even read through a text or a tweet. You guys weren't paying attention, apparently.
Oh, somebody called you out.
What a bunch of a-holes. No, but it's just like that seems like really basic analysis of a player.
Yeah,
it doesn't really talk about anything else. I mean, I'm sure there are a ton of passionate, hard-hitting MLSers out there that high five people
and clap.
I don't know. I feel like you could do a better analysis job for the player, especially since it's his first camp and somebody's going to ask a question.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. It's pretty basically not much.
By the end of the game, after 90 minutes, man, his shirt is soaking wet with sweat because he ran all around that pitch.
Because he runs more miles than any other player in the Bundesliga. Michael, is Michael Cameraman here? Michael, can you confirm that?
Is that all the stats I had?
I thought you had another shot, Michael. Oh, he knocks the snot out of more players than any other player in the Bundesliga.
He was originally a center back for the bulk of his career, and then all of a sudden he became a defensive midfielder.
He knocks 80% more snot onto the pitch every game than any player in the Bundesliga, and he runs more. All right, so let's go to the lineup. Let's go to the roster and the goalkeepers we got to close this show up.
Yeah. Man, damn, we're already at 2 hours.
I know.
I got shit to do, man.
Even flow. Here we go. Goalkeepers, Matt Turner, Ethan Horvath, Nottingham Forest is, goalkeepers. Okay, that's big deal. I'm surprised not 3, but.
I was going to say, I guess if we're only bringing 2, yeah, I know that obviously Horvath isn't playing But I mean, what's the alternative? You're going to bring an MLS goalkeeper at this point, or even Slonina?
It is weird.
You're going to bring in somebody that you're familiar with at this point as a secondary that you can lean on.
Once what's his face gets back, Hennessy gets back to Nottingham Forest, Horvath's going to move down to the 4th keeper in that team. He's already 3rd. Now he's going to be 4th.
Horvath is literally coasting off of his past performances under Berhalter. Yeah. And at some point, there's going to be a flip, and you're going to see, like I said, I bring up Gaga. I know he's playing, and he's playing for a horrible team in a lesser league, but he's playing. And then you have a couple of MLS goalkeepers that are nipping at their heels.
Can I say this?
I'm sure you could, as long as it's not too offensive.
Even Horvath is too nice.
Derek, we've been saying for like the last 3 years.
I know. I'm reiterating it. He's too nice of a guy. He puts up with bullshit.
Yeah.
And being
we're going to go ahead and go out and get another goalkeeper. What the fuck?
He puts up with so much bullshit, dude. Yeah. Like, he doesn't demand respect, and he needs to start. He's like, get me the fuck off this team now. He should have been off this team in the last window. No. You're telling me he couldn't find somebody who wanted him in, like, Holland or Denmark or somewhere?
Anywhere. Get the point. Now, I see Horvath going like, you know what? A lot of people bitch about the British cuisines, but I find it okay.
He loves a spotted dick.
A lot of beans inside your soggy toast. Not too bad. And they bitch about this English pine being hard, but it's not that bad. You know, it's nice and soft.
Yeah, sadly. All right, next. We got to get through this.
No big surprises on the goalkeepers.
No.
Who you got starting here?
Oh, well, Matt Turner, of course. Center backs, Cameron Carter-Vickers is back. Not too long after injury, but he did play the last game for Celtic. Tim Ream, Chris Richards are your starters, I think, in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's simple. It's simple. Tim Ream, Chris Richards, starting center backs.
Yeah, we kind of talked about the defensive pairing here as a whole already, so don't need to spend too much time here.
Nope. Next. Lund starting at left back because none of the other guys are starting left backs naturally. DeJuan Jones, you can make an argument, but DeJuan Jones is on here. I don't know why. I mean, listen, I know people love this guy, but, you know, he wouldn't be here if Jedi was on this roster. He is back up to Lund, and then you got Dest on the right, and Scally, if he gets extra minutes at the end, that's all he's going to get.
So you think if Lund goes out, that Jones would get pulled in before Scally does?
Yeah, because Jones has played more left back recently for the U.S. men's national team than Scally. Scally's not really been given much of a chance for a long time to play left back for the U.S. men's national team.
It's true. I agree with that.
And
I'm just looking at I don't know. I guess Jones has played more left back at the club level too. I mean, I know Scally has played time half a season. I would say probably at the left back. But I would just think that if one of the backs go out, that Scally would probably be higher up in the pecking order, regardless.
You would think, but doesn't seem that's the case with Gregg. Gregg played what's his face over Scally at the World Cup.
Yedlin, Cannon.
Not just that. Who's
no
the
more?
schmuck?
No, is it more? There's more.
Yeah,
Cannon didn't go.
Shaq Moore. So I don't know how high on the pecking order Scally actually is, but I think Jones is a more natural left back, and I think Scally is Dest's, replacement after 80 minutes. He gets 10 minutes somewhere. Yep. No, Dest is not going to play left back. Might be. He's not. He's going to start it right back. I don't know if you've seen Dest play right back, left back anytime soon. He did it with AC Milan most recently. But for us, he is a locked-in right back. And with Lund there, we already heard from Gregg, and Gregg is pretty intent on starting Lund in this in the left back position to test his viability as a replacement for Jedi.
Where's Des playing consistently at PSV?
He's done both, but mostly PSV. He started out a lot on the right, but after injury guys came back, I believe last game he played on the left back side. I might be wrong, but it's memory. I'm using memory here. Thought last game he played left back. So no, I don't. Your starter at right back is just penned in. That is Dest. And it would be Jedi on the left, but Lund is somebody that Gregg wants to test out hardcore.
Yeah.
He will start at left back in the game versus Germany.
And I agree with that too. But I mean, if I had to say one thing about if it was Scally and Dest starting, let's just say I'm Disneyland shitting this up because I think Lund is going to start as well.
Yeah.
I would say Berhalter would probably still play Dest at right and Scally at left because Scally is again more of a not as gung ho to get up into the attack as Dest is, and Dest is much more gung ho of getting into the attack when he's playing with Weah and McKinney on that side. They've got a great pairing trio on that side.
Yes, we're talking about connections between players. Dest and Weah are guys that are super connected. They know each other well. You don't want to break up that chemistry. I know on occasion we flip-flop Pulisic and Weah just to give the other team something to look at, but mostly we see Weah on the right and Pulisic on the left.
And what do we see? What do we see with Jedi and Pulisic? Don't quite have that chemistry by any means. And what happens is they get in each other's way.
Yes.
Well, what happens when you have somebody like Scally over there is he doesn't get in Pulisic's way. And
yeah,
because he's going to be more of a he's going to be more of a stay at home type of back.
Yep.
And he's not going to get in the way of everybody. So if I had to pick Scally to start either right or left with Dest, he's going to probably play left with me, I guess.
Yeah,
but I think Lund's going to start.
It will be Lund. Yep. We're just telling you what Gregg's going to do, guys. Don't.
Hey, Jose's in the chat. I haven't seen you in a while, man.
Hey, Jose. Damn, y'all still awake. Go to sleep. Also, I don't trust Gregg. One good roster. Nice try, buddy. It's a couple good rosters.
I'll say this is a second roster.
Yeah.
I feel like he's done significantly better with the rosters this cycle, but that's only been 2 windows. So
yeah, it's only 2 windows, so don't get too excited. I broke this up. Midfielders, these are guys that are just midfielders. They're not going to do anything else necessarily. Cardoso, Luca De La Torre, Weston McKennie, Musa, Maloney. I think we are looking at the possibility in this first game, based on what Gregg is saying, of playing a 4-2-3-1. So I'm going with McKennie and Musa starting as the two holding center midfielders, with Reyna playing as the top of that diamond as the 10.
It could be, absolutely. And the only other alternative there is Reyna coming in later in the match and him going back with Luca, Weston, and Musa.
And Aronson's listed as a forward. Aronson hasn't earned anything. He's going to be a bench guy. He's going to come off the bench and replace Weah or Pulisic if he gets any minutes at all, which he will.
Well, which is why I don't know why you have him in the attacking mids. He's not going to play in the midfield. He's going to be. We have only 4 wings anyways at this point. That's with Paredes moving up, assuming that Aronson is in fact a wing. So yeah, it's going to be it's Aronson replacing Pulisic.
And Tillman in for Reyna at halftime.
Yeah. All
right. That's covered. Last one. Pulisic and Weah start, obviously. Paredes might see some time. I do not think Paredes will play left back or right back.
No. Well, in the U.S. Soccer website, their little presser has him listed as a wing or forward.
Correct. So he'll come in for either one of these 2 guys, and then Aronson might come in for either one of these 2 guys. So they'll get like 5-10 minutes. All right. Tillman will start over Gio for GGG. I don't think so. I think there's too much media focused on this. I think Brain is starting.
So in that's the thing. I see he kind of alludes to it in his first answer.
Yeah.
And the second answer, he talks about trying to find him minutes. So it could be that Tillman starts.
It could be.
But I think Gregg will probably start Reyna, say, hey, you're coming off at halftime.
Right.
Then Tillman comes in.
We're doing a Balogun. We're doing a Balogun.
Because what happens if I mean, again, we talked about injuries could happen at any point. What happens if Tillman starts, gets his first half, then Reyna comes in the second half, and then goes lame?
Yeah, then
God forbid. Let me knock some fucking wood here, but
then Tillman starts the rest of the way, or we go back to a 4-3-3.
No, but yeah, my point is we would have wasted a sub on a player who's recovering from injury that might re-agitate something. So again, if you start him and he gets injured, then you're just making the sub, etc. But if you start Tillman and you bring in Reyna and then he gets injured, then all of a sudden you have to make another sub there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I see him using him in the first 45.
Yeah, I do too. And
then moving from there.
Yep.
But it's possible. Gregg could go either route. Maybe Gio just gets like the final 20 minutes. You never know.
Nah, I don't think so. I think he's going to get at least a half. We're talking about Gregg talking about him getting enough time to make a impression on Terzic at Dortmund.
I agree. And I think that's the obvious point. That and his comparison to how they handled Flo last window. I think those are the two obvious things.
Yeah, lots of comparisons to how we played Flo. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing happen with Flo and Pepe again this game, with Balogun starting the first half and Pepe playing the second. Although it could be that Balogun gets 70 and or 60 and Pepe gets 30. But Balogun's not playing this whole game. I think he's going to get 45 or 60 to 70 minutes. But Pepe's playing every game, at least 20 to 30 minutes. I was
going to say, what if instead of, say, doing the 45-45 with Balogun and Pepe, because I feel like with both strikers, especially when we saw Pepe come in the second half against both Uzbekistan and Oman, primarily against Oman, because Uzbekistan we got the goals later. But when he came in and we're already up, whatever it was, like 2-0, 3-0 or whatever against Oman, I mean, it wasn't quite that, I guess, but yeah, it was that actually. That point coming in playing the second half, the team's playing different. You're already making subs. It's not quite the same. So why not say like against Germany, maybe Flo plays like 70 minutes. Pepe comes in for 20, and then against Ghana, Pepe plays for 70. Flo comes in for 20. That way, you're giving them a chance both to play with the A squad, building chemistry, and you can move on from there.
Could be. But I do see Balogun starting both.
It's very, very likely. I agree. I'm just saying, maybe we could do that.
I mean, you could. I just think that in one of the games, Pepe gets more time than the other. I think the Germany game, he gets less. And I think it could be a halftime thing versus Ghana. But we'll see. We'll see. That's like a decision for Gregg to make. Yep. Could be either a planned decision or something he decides to do at the moment of the game. If Balogun isn't working out, having to check back constantly, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like nothing's going right. Nobody's making the through ball to him. Chemistry's all fucked up. We'll see how that works. Mm-hmm. And that's on Gregg. Gregg needs to make that work. And that's going to be either through formation and the way he sets up and the emphasis that he's making about freedom of passing, freedom of movement, freedom of pass, of creativity for the players. I know Gregg likes to say, our guys just missed a lot of through balls to Balogun. No, dude, your system screwed up those through balls to Balogun. There were no real great opportunities. He made like 2 or 3 runs that maybe somebody missed, but they would have had to put that pass on a dime from the fucking either holding 6 or a center back, because nobody in the midfield was making the kind of movement in the midfield to provide the angles that would allow Balogun to make a run for him to get and connect with to make a shot. So anyhow, okay. Well, what
Jocko says, wasn't Aronson on the roster? He was. Derek had put him in the attacking midfield role.
Yep.
So I don't think that's where he's going to be, but
I mean, Aronson's one of those guys who can play CAM, wide, or midfield. That's where he's been played so far for us. I don't see him getting a whole lot of minutes, just 20 minutes here and 20 minutes there. Mm-hmm. Aronson, by the way, got 10 minutes for Union Berlin. I told you he played himself out of the starting lineup, and that's about all he's going to get for Union Berlin for the rest of the season. 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 5 minutes here, 15 minutes here. He is not he is not the kind of player that makes a difference. He doesn't make a difference for Union Berlin. I hate saying that until he proves me otherwise, which he hasn't for a year straight. He is not a difference maker on a team, on a club. He's just not. He's a guy you throw out there, he takes up space and runs a lot. I hate saying that.
I don't know. It would be interesting to go back and find out how many flubs, missed opportunities that Bamford had that could have won the game and got notched Leeds points.
I'm beyond that now, Brett.
No. I'm just saying. You're like, well, it's been a year. He hasn't been a difference maker. I'm just saying again. I mean, you can only do so much. Outside of him scoring and assisting, you can only do so much. You can only lay it on that platter so many times. It'd be interesting to go back again. If Bamford scored that one clear-cut opportunity and got Leeds at 3 points, and all of a sudden Leeds is staying up, and it's a big difference.
I would agree that Bamford blew at least 4 opportunities last season that was put on a platter to him by Aronson. Outside of that, the number of times Aronson fucked up in the final third and missed the pass or missed a shot or didn't take a shot at all were so numerous. He's carried this over to Union Berlin in this season, and he doesn't even have a Bamford to blame, right? And it's just the same shit. It's the same shit.
And as BMR says, Aronson didn't do that often, Brett. I agree. All I'm saying is that we'd be singing a different tone if Bamford had put away 2 or 3 of those opportunities. All of a sudden, he's got a couple of assists, and Leeds stays up.
I agree. He would have 2 or 3 assists. Also, though, where are the goals, Aronson? Where are the goals? There were plenty of opportunities for him. And there was in this last game for Union Berlin and the game before for Union Berlin. And he had an open shot. No. The game before where he
played in. Yes, I got you.
Fucked it up, dude. Blasted over the fucking bar about a mile into like the 30th row. And it was not one of those shots that were that hard. Then he missed a fucking sitting header. A header in this last one. A fucking sitter. Go watch it. He blew it, dude. Blew the header from 6-8 fucking yards out. Blew a header. I mean, you can't do that. When you got a chance to finish and make a difference, that's the problem with him. He doesn't make a difference. And he's a great player, and he gives you lots of energy and all that shit, but he's not a difference maker. And at this level that he's moving up to in the Bundesliga and with Leeds, he's got to be a difference maker on a regular basis.
And Jose brings up a point that he was a better player at Red Bull. And I had mentioned this on Monday's show that I'm getting to a point now where I don't necessarily I don't believe that all of our players need to be on the top leagues playing for an EPL or Bundesliga, even at the point to be the best player for the U.S. men's national team. When Brendan was still with the Red Bulls in Austria, that was the best Brendan that we had. Then he moved to Leeds, and then his quality with the United States national team dwindled at that point.
But it's a lot easier to be the best player on the team or one of the best players on the team at Red Bull Salzburg.
Sure, and I'm not disagreeing with that either. I'm just saying with a player like Brendan, sometimes it just comes down more to confidence than to say who he's playing consistently or who he's playing against as well.
Oh, his confidence is not good.
So that's what I'm saying. Somebody had mentioned it earlier. I don't think I have to go back up and take a look, but it's like he's got the yips right now. When he was with Red Bulls, he was firing on all cylinders. He was doing well in Champions League. Well, as far as Salzburg was concerned.
Sure.
And then with the United States national team, Pulisic got injured. He jumped in and he did pretty damn well as far as being an immediate thrust into our team.
Yeah.
But then he made the move to Leeds. Big move, playing in a bigger league, and then.
Yeah. Okay. So, he does have the yips. I don't disagree with that, but that's a mental problem that he's got to get over. And we see it now with Union Berlin. We saw the season so far when he's been in the final third. He's missed obvious passes.
Sure.
He's missed. So I'm hoping Brendan can find that confidence. And the only way you get that is by getting those assists and those goals and changing your mentality. So the problem is now he's not a starter on that team and he's a bit player on that team.
I was hoping that the goal and the assist he got last window would do that, but that didn't seem to springboard him at all.
I mean, national team stuff doesn't always spill over to club. It rarely does, actually. So anyhow, that's all we got for you tonight, guys. Brett's got to travel tomorrow.
Got to pack.
He's got to pack.
2 hours and 20 minutes. That's all we got for this week, guys.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll be back Monday for another show. Until then, say hi to your stepsister. Give her my best. I hope she's well. I hope the both of you are well. And until the next time on the Straight Red Card, peace out.
She's a trap, she's an unsung novel, turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without wine.
That hurt. I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm
articulate and intelligent.
Gregg's a bitch. That's all.